Okay, yep. Again, I'm really enjoying this. We could do this for much like that. Twice as many sessions.
I said we just started the journey. We're going to come back to it.
Wow, yeah. And I hope anybody who's listening or watching is just conversation for them. As I see here, Reverend Ian, Roger, myself. What I want to discuss in a minute, really, and this is more of a roundup. This is really, as I said, to spark conversations with people and get them thinking where the church goes from here, and to also think about where those people are who are, I'm in church now, but I haven't told anybody that I like the same sex, or I'm in that relationship, how they deal with it, and some of those as well who are praying and saying to God, I don't want to, because that's, I heard somebody saying that the other day, and it was really quite powerful, that, well, it weren't them literally, but somebody I know who's close to me had a conversation with someone who is a homosexual, but they're also a Christian, and they're also doing ministry. So it's a case of, okay, they actually were praying to God, take this from me, but it never happened. So they had a desire in terms of, something was saying to them, or they're saying to themselves, this is wrong, I want to get rid of it. But nothing happened. So I don't know if there's anything we can give as advice, but what do you say to encourage or to help people who actually have got that proclivity, they've got that desire for the same sex, but at the same time they're struggling really hard with it. Not just because the church have said this, have said anything, but because they themselves are thinking, Lord, I don't want this. How do you deal with that?
I think the unfortunate thing, I can't talk from personal experience, but what I can talk from the experience of my own personal struggles, and what helps me is that I am in environments of people who go through, who are in like-minded and who go through struggles, but they're not. Who's there to support a support network, really and truly. And I think the biggest issue for me when it comes to homosexuality in the church is that the people who are in that situation don't have no sort of safe environment to be able to say, listen, if you got alcohol issues, you might have AA, or Christians developed AA, and so for me, it's a case of having a safe environment for Christians to who are struggling in different walk issues. If you're struggling with pornography, if you're struggling with different issues which go against the word of God, to have an environment, and even if you think that little bit is okay, but you're in an environment of people who say, listen, don't open that gateway, this is what I've been through. But the problem is that, and the reason why it's growing, it's kept so underground, like I said, I'm quite passionate about within music, it's just cool, you know what I'm saying? It's just left because no one wants to stand up and say, listen, I have struggled with this for so many years, listen, let's create a safe environment for us to talk with the Bible there, with wise men of God and people that's gone through the whole situation. But the problem is, if you're going to speak to no one who's been through it, you could just waddle along and guess your way through it. But we need to have people, environments within the church where people can talk. Full stop.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, Roger. We've got to create the safe place. That's why we have the sanctuary in church. It is a safe place. It's meant to be the place.
It's a bit of an ironic statement, though, isn't it?
It's an ironic statement.
It's a bit ironic statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because what we have done in the church is, as you say, push it on the ground. And what I've found in a lot of churches now, as an Anglican speaking about Pentecostal churches, because we've got enough. One thing about the church, dear old Church of England, it does at least attempt to bring some of these issues out.
Yeah.
Whatever you may think about it. I've got some big concerns, as you know. But often I think the sort of the whole issue around homosexuality has been turned into a scapegoat for many in the church to cover up what is also going on around other issues of sexuality. And I think particularly about, in terms of marriage,
Yeah.
a marriage,
Fornication.
fatherhood, raising children, a whole raft of things that the church should be the safe place to look at. Look at these issues, child abuse, the whole thing, what's going on. And it's become the last place, the last refuge almost.
It's the last place they would think of to get support. Or help.
Whereas in fact it should be the first place.
It should be.
Where we should be able to come to the Bible says about the reasoning together, but under the Word of God.
Yeah.
And I think what we should be doing, the two things, is creating an atmosphere of trust, a safe place, even for a young person, that they could come actually know it's safe to talk about this here. It's not going to be gossiped in my community, or I'm going to be on Facebook in the next 5 minutes as a result of what I've said. And this takes a lot of courage, but that's what we're called to be. That's about walking the way of the cross. And because it's going to become sacred, not we're treading on ground that it's a moment wood like this, but God contains something quite holy and special. But under the Word of God, let's start to look at this and actually to discern what God is saying through the Word, and opening up people to that Word.
Yeah, and spinning nicely off the back of that, I think that comes down to how we talk about this from the pulpit.
Yeah.
And how we talk about this with teaching sessions, Bible school, whatever, Sunday school, and being careful about how we express it, because it's fine for me to say I don't agree with it, that's fine. But how you say you don't agree with it and how you put that across, that's what I'm going to be examining. So, I don't agree with homosexuality, and fine, but how you say it is very key. And I mean, you should be able to say it anyway, but even if somebody who was homosexual was sitting there listening, they wouldn't think, I ain't coming back here. Because they think, actually, no, you don't agree, but some of your reasons and the way you were coming at me have challenged me to think about where I'm at. Where sometimes the way people put things across from the pulpit, people sit there, hear one message and think, I'm not interested.
Yeah, sure.
Not coming. And you can't really go attack somebody's person, because even if that is their behaviour and say I'm gay, they're still a person. And I think we have to remember that. And that's one thing I always said about Jesus' ministry. He always dealt with the person, and we all struggle. I've got loads of things I struggle with and still struggle with, but so it's that case of where we really do need to show grace and mercy to those, because they actually even, you might think, I need to show them more mercy because where they're going down, I know God really doesn't agree with it. So let's kind of have that conversation. And I'd love to think people think I can talk about this even though I know you won't agree, even though I know that it goes against what the Word of God is saying. So I suppose our messages would be the same for churches. Got to be open to it. It's Church of England are tackling it. Me sitting here, clearly a black person. Well, for those who are watching, not for those who are listening. But with black churches in it, Roger, we know there's a lot of things going on that is not being dealt with, not being talked about. Child abuse, the homosexuality, because of certain cases in America and pastors and things happening, it's becoming more of an issue. But then it seems to kind of get put back under the rug again, and they go on as though nothing happened. You know what I mean? So
I think as a church, we've got to do more work with what God has given us through His Word, and we come back to nature, we come back to the whole picture we have in Genesis of what was paradise, the fall, the first Adam, and Christ is the second Adam. And what does that mean? What are the implications for our sexuality as a gift of God, and how is that to be appropriated in our relationship, one with God, and also with in terms of how that's expressed?
No, I agree with that. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do, and I'm hoping by God's grace that we can be a part of that work that needs to be done. And anybody who's watching or listening will be a part of that work as well. And it's making the church smarter on this topic, rather than running from it. I think if that happens, then all this was worth it. Otherwise, it wasn't. But I think it was. Yeah.
The comments will.
If there's any comments, any feedback, please let us know. If you want us to talk about it even more, then let us know. But otherwise, we're going to wrap it up. So thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Roger.
Cool.
And until next time.